and I guess.
A groundbreaking AI tool, Shaker AI. It can turn blurry images into 4K Ultra HD and even higher resolution, change the shape of images from square to landscape, and even convert 2D images.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite series here on YouTube, Guess the ELO. Now I know what you're thinking. Levy, what the hell was that title? Did you clickbait me again? No. There's actually some great news. That great news is the fact that Lucy and I are going to get married. I tweeted about this earlier today, and if you want to know the origin story of our relationship, I talked about it with Sagar Shah in our podcast episode on the Gotham City YouTube channel. Now you also know I have a podcast and Eclipse channel, all in one. And before we jump into the games, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Babbel. You probably know me from my chess content, but you should know that I love learning new languages. It's the first step that you can take to immersing yourself in a certain culture. And so Lucy and I have actually started learning French together. And Babbel makes learning French and many other languages super fun and easy to do. The thing I like the most is the real-world conversations in the apps. You can simulate talking through being at the grocery store about food. You can talk about travel. You can talk about relationships. There are multiple ways to learn in the app. Like you could just watch the videos, but also there are fun practice games. And there's podcasts in the language that you're trying to learn. And the lessons are actually the most interesting part because they're short, about 10 minutes, very interactive, and they're made by real language teachers who are taking their classroom experience and putting it on the app. There's no AI that's making you simulate.
Today we're taking LeBron James and Steph Curry and swapping their NBA careers, meaning that LeBron will be taking his talents to the Bay to play for the Warriors, while Steph will be taking LeBron's place on his teams, all starting off with the Cleveland Cavaliers, which will give the two the chance to replay their legendary rivalry, where one will eventually stand alone as the greatest of all time.
The Cleveland Cavaliers select Stephen Curry from Davidson College.
So with all that being said, their journey starting off with Steph Curry heading to Cleveland, where he'll have a 6-year head start over LeBron, who's not getting drafted until 2009, which is definitely something to keep in mind as time goes on, because both Steph and LeBron are going to be racing to 6 NBA championships, with the first to ultimately get there being crowned the greatest of all time. So with the two aiming for that many titles, it's only right that we fast forward a couple years to 2007, where Steph and LeBron's competition would finally start to take form. All starting off with our first glimpse of LBJ on the court as he's heading to Davidson College just as Steph does. But just like Steph, he'll have to wait a while and play 3 seasons with the team before he heads to the NBA. But on the other hand, Steph's situation would be completely different, as he's in year 4 of his NBA journey, dominating the league with over 25 points per game to lead the Cavs to the 3 seed. And by the time the playoffs came around, his dominance wouldn't end there, as the Cavaliers would make it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals for a showdown with the Miami Heat, which for a variety of reasons will be Steph's most important matchup yet. With the first being that in the near future, Steph will be playing for the Heat as part of a big 3 that could become a potential dynasty. But maybe the most important of all would be the hype surrounding him, as he, just like LeBron, was born in Akron, Ohio, making him the potential hometown savior for the Cavaliers, who just so happened to be in the middle of a championship drought that spanned over multiple decades. And when you combine that with those who don't believe in him,
I don't think he's a winner. I ask you again, what has he won?
All eyes would be on his matchup with the Heat, which would wind up being as close as you would expect, with D-Wade attacking the basket and Steph launching from deep on their way to a Game 7. But in the end, it would be Steph who would carry the Cavs on the road to come out on top, with 3 after 3 after 3, to ultimately hold on to a late lead entering the final few seconds of the game. Second free throw to pretty much put it away, unless some sort of miracle happens. It's good. And with those free throws, it would ultimately be enough for the Cavaliers to stamp their trip to the NBA Finals. In only year 4 and at the age of 22, Steph Curry has led one of the NBA's worst franchises all the way to the finals. But his triumph over the Heat may be short-lived, because while the Cavs aren't known for team success, his final opponent just so happens to be one of the NBA's best. That being the San Antonio Spurs, who are led by 3 Hall of Famers: Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili. But before we see how Steph fares against them, it's also important to mention that coincidentally, LeBron also made it to the 2007 finals in real life, where he also had to go up against the Spurs. But where history can potentially change here is the result of the finals, as LeBron was swept and Steph's fate is still to be determined. Because despite being the massive underdog, Steph would fare better than LeBron did, as while the Spurs trio would play well taking the first 2 games, Steph would shockingly be the best player on the floor in the next 3, helping the Cavs come all the way back to take the lead in the series, now being 1 win away from a championship. But of course, with 3 Hall of Fame players on the floor for the Spurs, this one wouldn't end so easily, meaning that after they took Game 6 in Cleveland, the 2007 NBA Finals would be going to Game 7, where Steph would have to win 1 more game in a hostile San Antonio arena to walk away as a champion, which will also give him an early 1-0 lead over LeBron, who, as a reminder, is still a few years away from entering the NBA. However, while the series may seem to be at its endpoint, it would only be the start of something truly special, as Steph and Tim Duncan would go at it, and when Manu and Tony Parker got in on the action, Steph would respond with 3 after 3 all the way until the 4th quarter. San Antonio would have the ball in a tie game with 20 seconds remaining, and of course a championship on the line. No doubt, Steph Curry's only at the beginning of what's about to be a legendary career. Right now, he's in the midst of the most important possession of his entire life, with the weight of an entire state on his shoulders. Here we go, 20 seconds left, about a second between the shot clock and the game clock. Looks like Manu and Tim Duncan are about to get busy. Here we go, Manu with the ball, Steph gets... Why did Manu just stop? Oh my God, they're about to hit this anyways. We're going to overtime. Oh my God. So with that, Game 7 would go into overtime. And just as it was in regulation, it would be a steady back and forth between the Spurs and Steph, which would once again go down to the final few moments. As this time, the Cavs would have the ball, down 1 with 40 seconds left. Cleveland just called a timeout. They advance it up the court, 40 seconds left. Steph is wide open. They do not pass it to him, but somebody, I bet you someone else is about to take this shot. Steph with the ball, they're about to send a double. Steph with the step back in the corner. Oh my God, he might have just won the championship with that shot. That is a crazy shot. Here we go, 34 seconds left. Steph has San Antonio on the ropes. Steph's man is about to come up. Oh my God, that's not David Robinson. I don't know. Oh my God, he missed it. Steph is too small, he doesn't get the board. We have a tie game with 24 seconds left. They throw it into Larry Hughes. If Steph doesn't get the ball here, I will be absolutely distraught. I have a bad feeling right now that they're not about to pass it to him, which is absolutely insane. They're not going to pass it to Steph. Oh my God, it's about to be a disaster. They throw it down to Ilgauskas in the post. Ilgauskas with the hook shot. Oh my God, we're going to double overtime. And just as it was in the first overtime, double overtime would again be a back and forth that would again go down to the wire. As while the Cavs would be down, it would only be a 3-point deficit with 90 seconds left to play. Unfortunately for them, they just so happened to have the best person for the situation. And he just decided not to take it. Steph is open. Oh my God, here we go. For the tie. He drains it. The most insane jump in we have ever seen. Tim Duncan, oh my God, what a pass from Tony Parker to Tim Duncan. Steph trying to bounce. He's hit some crazy shots. The past 2 shots he just hit, absolutely insane. He throws it down to Ilgauskas, who pretty much, I don't pass it to him anymore. Tony Parker with the ball, the pass over to not David Robinson. They throw it down to Manu, who's being guarded. He has the mismatch. He has Steph on him. Steph's fighting, though. Steph has him all the way out of the paint, almost. They throw it back to Manu, but Manu, I don't know what. Steph is clamping up. We have seen some... Steph played the best 23 seconds of defense of his life and was not rewarded for it. Here we go. They're about to pass it down to Ilgauskas. I don't want to sound like a hater, but I don't think this is going to end well. He takes a hook shot from so far away. He drains it. Cleveland could play for a stop right now, but I have a feeling 2K's about to make him foul. Here we go. They need some missed free throws. Manu's going to the line. First free throw is good. That now makes it a 3-point game. Whatever happens here, I think Cleveland's going to have to go for a 3. Win or lose, they have to pass it to Steph. And he's coming off the screen. He's wide open. He kind of is wide open. Oh my God, he hit it. All right, here we go. Cleveland is still alive. I don't know how. Wow. All right, obviously they had to foul once again. Manu hit the first free throw to make it a 2-point lead, but whatever happens here, it's a 1-possession game. It doesn't look like Cleveland has a timeout. They don't pass it to Steph on the inbound, which makes me think there's a chance he gets the ball here. But I don't know. To be honest, I feel like... That's the shot they took. It's over. It's actually over. Oh my God, bro. Steph he did all that to tie up the game. Manu misses the first. Yo, I need some chaos. Please miss the free throw. I can't believe Larry Hughes just took that shot. He missed both. Go, 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 go. Oh my God, Larry Hughes for the tie. No way, we're going to triple. Both teams deserve to lose. Nobody should be the champion. There's actually 3 seconds left though, so this could end right now. Nothing would surprise me at this point. Manu, oh my God. Yo, the computer is so dumb. Unbelievably, it seems like no team wants to walk away as a champion, mostly due to the questionable decision-making and performance of players not named Steph Curry or Tim Duncan. But will triple overtime yield a different result and finally crown a champion? There's only one way to find out, as we'd see yet another close finish, with the Cavs finally up with a 1-point lead and 28 seconds left. Now one defensive stop away from a championship. There's no way Cleveland messes it up right now. 1-point game. San Antonio down by 1. Tony Parker to the basket, the floater, the Tony Parker, I almost said Tim Duncan. So with that, we'd be entering potentially the final possession of Game 7. But considering the chaos we just witnessed, it's impossible to predict what will happen next. Will the Cavs put the ball in the hands of the superstar who's carried them here? Or will they make an unbelievably questionable decision with a championship on the line? It's 2 in the morning and I'm yelling at 2K at a triple overtime game. Will Steph finally take the last shot? Here we go. Down by 1, 10 seconds left. Steph Curry with the championship on the line. Oh my, I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this one. Yeah, he's not taking the final shot. What are they? They deserve to lose. No way. Did it count? It counted. Yo, they actually pulled it. Well, how did they do it? What just happened? Steph Curry is a champion. In large part due to his teammate Drew Gooden, a player not known for scoring who just drained the most important bucket of the season, now giving Steph Curry a 1-0 lead on championships over LeBron. But don't count him out just yet, because he'll have his own major advantages later on. However, to focus back on Steph, with some help, he was able to break the Cleveland sports curse, which means that we can now officially enter a brand new era of NBA basketball. All starting off with the 2008 season, where LeBron would dominate in year 2 of college ball, and Steph Curry would finish the season as the league MVP, averaging 30 points per game. But the playoffs would be a totally different story, as Steph's bid for a repeat would fall short in the conference finals in both 2008 and 2009. Bringing his championship from 2007 into question, with many fans believing he was bailed out by his teammates and that it really shouldn't count. So it seems like Steph will have to prove his doubters wrong yet again. But with the end of those 2 seasons, it means that LeBron's officially entering the NBA in the 2009 draft, where he's taking Steph's spot on the Warriors. And it wouldn't take him long to announce his arrival to both the NBA and our competition with slam after slam, eventually finishing his rookie year with averages of 21, 6, and 7. So while it took him a while to make it to the NBA, the wait would definitely be well worth it. And not only would his rookie year be great in the short term, it would be a really encouraging sign for the future, as while he would miss the playoffs with his new team as the 9th seed, it's only a matter of time until he gets some help and they make some serious noise. But Steph, on the other hand, would still be firmly in championship contention, as while the Cavs would only be the 4th seed in a top-heavy Eastern Conference, Steph Curry would cook his first 3 opponents in the first 3 rounds to return to the NBA Finals. However, while he's been battle-tested by his first appearance against the Spurs, he's now up against his toughest opponent yet. Obviously, right now, the situation's not ideal at all for Steph. He's going to have to take down Kobe. He's still in his prime. The Lakers were the #1 seed as well, and the Cavs were the 4th. So the odds are definitely against Steph. And those odds would continue to not be in his favor, as while for a moment it seemed like Steph was the best player in the league, Kobe would be reclaiming that top spot, which is something to look out for, especially considering LeBron would be training in the meantime to also make it to the top. But in short, the NBA Finals wouldn't be close. Steph's dragged the Cavs as far as possible, but they're running out of gas, falling short in the finals in 5 games. He impressively has already led Cleveland to a title earlier, and eventually he'll be back. But right now, with his head start over, he's taking his 1-0 lead and his talents to South Beach, where he would be pairing up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh as a member of the Heat, now forming a big 3 that seems to be the title favorite. But before we see how those 3 perform, let's check in on LeBron, who's already up to 24 points and 9 assists per game as only a second-year player. And while he's still waiting on a couple of Steph's signature teammates, you would not be able to tell, as the Warriors as a team would make the leap to the top of the West, finishing with a 60-22 record as the 1 seed, which is a crazy coincidence considering that Steph and the Heat would also finish first in the East, winning 64 games. So right now it's clear that we're on the brink of a legendary rivalry. All starting with the conference finals, where both will have the chance to play each other for the championship if both can move on. So right now, both LeBron and Steph are in the conference finals. Steph's matchup against Orlando, he's pretty much guaranteed to win it. I would be very surprised if Steph wound up losing. So the real question right now is, will LeBron be able to take down Kobe? But for LeBron and the Warriors, the answer to that question would be a resounding no. And it wouldn't even be close, as Kobe would quickly take a 3-1 lead in the series. And with a chance to send LeBron home in front of the Golden State fans, Kobe would do just that, finishing off the Warriors in style to move on to the finals. Honestly, considering that this year was LeBron's second, he made it all the way to the conference finals, it's honestly kind of encouraging. So with LeBron's season now officially over, we have to focus back on Steph, who would be making it to the finals, meaning that he would have his second chance to take down Kobe for the title. And with the help of his new teammates, he's got a much greater chance to do so. But in the end, this one wouldn't be much different than when he was on the Cavs, as Kobe would, just as he did to LeBron, start the series up 3-1. Kobe is completely stealing the show right now, which would be enough to crush the hopes of Steph and the Heat, as he would rub salt in the wound by finishing up the job on the road. So it looks like Kobe right now is the main obstacle for both Kobe and LeBron. Or I mean Steph and LeBron, not Kobe and LeBron, obviously. But yeah, Kobe's going back to back. So with Steph Curry losing in the finals again, adding fuel to the fire that's been placed on him by the media, it's safe to say that the momentum he had from his first title has completely gone away. But the 2012 season would maybe be the best one yet. Because for LeBron, he'd be getting some help with the addition of Klay Thompson, who would be a seamless fit with LBJ, who's now at 25-10, leading the team back to the Western Conference Finals for a second straight time. But before we see who he's up against, in Steph's case, he would be averaging a cool 31 points per game to win his second MVP, which would be enough to help lead the Heat back to the finals, where he'll either be going up against LeBron and the Warriors, or the Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron's gonna have to go up against KD, Harden, Westbrook. If he wants to meet up with Steph in the finals, that's what he's gonna have to be. And while in a way LeBron is lucky to have avoided Kobe, the Thunder would prove that they're not too far behind, as the combined efforts of KD, Russ, and Harden would help OKC go up 2-0 in the series. But keep in mind, LeBron's consistently carried the Warriors through the playoffs for multiple years now, and that was before he had the help of Klay Thompson. So with those two working together, the Warriors would take not one, not two, not three, but the next 4 straight to make the comeback and advance, meaning that both LeBron James and Steph Curry will finally cross paths in the finals for the first of many times. However, while one day the two will have a more competitive matchup, this one would be over before it started, as the battle-tested Big Three with Steph leading the way would bounce back from last year at the expense of LeBron and the Dubs, who are too inexperienced to really stand a chance. Miami would not only win the series, but sweep it. Little round of applause for Steph, he's back on the board. It was only a matter of time. However, if you find yourself rooting for LeBron, don't count him out just yet. There's still a chance for him to come back from this 0-2 deficit. He's only in season 4, so he should be getting better, as does the whole team. And on top of that, the Warriors still have one more player that'll eventually join the team that could change the entire competition. But before we get to that, Steph would be continuing where he left off in the 2013 season by making it to his 4th straight finals. And in the Warriors' case, not only would Klay improve, but they'd also add the services of Draymond Green, who would add defense and intensity to the team. But the main draw, of course, would be LeBron, who would also improve to the point where he would win his first MVP, resulting in the Warriors also heading back to the finals for round 2 against the Heat. But unlike last year, it seems as though LeBron would have the upper hand.
Sulit ka sa Guard 2-in-1. Anti-dandruff shampoo na? May conditioner pa. Switch na.
Not only matching but surpassing Steph's production to quickly take a 3-2 lead in the finals, meaning that Steph is now once again with his back against the wall for the first time since his earlier matchup with Kobe. But going into Game 6 with a chance to force 7, he would remain unfazed, keeping the Heat's chances alive. But unfortunately for him, LeBron would be just as determined to close this one out before it gets out of hand. So with the two at the peak of their abilities, we would see a tie game with about 18 seconds left. And with the Warriors and LeBron having the ball, it's up to Steph and the Heat to get a stop to keep their season alive. They pass it into LeBron. I would assume, if they're smart about it, which it's 2K, we can't rule out anything, they would clear out because he's got Ray Allen on him. That is a mismatch. LeBron to the basket, the crossover, completely walled off by Ray Allen. The pass over to Clay. Clay, 1 second left on the clock. The floater, we're going to overtime. What is it today with this simulation in overtime? And just as a reminder, the last time we saw a game so close, it went to 3 overtimes and ended at the buzzer. And while that's extremely unlikely to happen for a second time, what would be certain is that this one would also go down to the wire. As after an intense back and forth from LeBron and Steph, Miami would have the ball, down 3 with about 24 seconds left. D-Wade with the ball, D-Wade with the cross. Steph is standing in the corner. Will they involve him? They finally do. Steph with the ball, the screen from D-Wade. He kind of had space. They just love passing it down into the post. Okay, here we go. Chris Bosh, pass out to Steph. Pump fake, couple pump fakes. Over to Rashard Lewis. He drains it. He tied up the game. Oh my God. So with the game now tied, and Miami with all of the momentum, Golden State would call one of their last timeouts, with only 6.6 seconds left. And the question is, will we see another role player step up and hit a huge shot? Or will the ball eventually find the hands of the king? If we see another triple overtime, I'm going to freak out. 6 seconds left. LeBron with the spin. Ray Allen playing great defense. Ray Allen's like 40, by the way. Oh my God, no. Yo, he really just hit that. So with that heroic effort and a little bit of space, there would be no need for a Game 7. LeBron's winning his first title in front of his home fans to make our competition 2-1, but maybe most importantly would be the fact that with this championship, we'd be soon entering another new era of the NBA. And I'll explain what that means extremely quickly. As the 2014 season would see both stars dominate as usual, with LeBron winning his second straight MVP. But the playoffs would once again be a challenge, as LBJ would go up against the San Antonio Spurs, who would anticlimactically defeat LeBron in 6 games to move on to the finals, where they would take care of Steph and the Heat as well. So just as fast as the two went back-to-back on titles, they're not completely unbeatable, which is something to keep in mind for 2015 and beyond. But to focus on the present, we'd see Steph Curry waste no time and make another move. Now heading back to Cleveland for a fresh start and to pair up with the electric Kyrie Irving, one of the most exciting scoring guards in the game, helping the team finish with a 62-20 record to finish as the 1 seed in the East. But can two small scoring point guards win an NBA championship together? Because the more balanced Golden State Warriors would also dominate, finishing second in the West and making it all the way to the conference finals, for yet another matchup with the OKC Thunder, who they've taken down in the past. In spite of that though, the combo of KD and Russ would be at its peak, and this one will look to be completely different. As after a back and forth between both teams that would go to Game 7, the all-around Warriors would fall short of the finals, getting blown out on the road. LeBron's not even on the floor for this one too. They already subbed out all the starters. The final streak is over for LBJ. So with LeBron's postseason officially cut short, we would see Steph on the other side dominate the Eastern Conference to match up with the Thunder in the finals. But unlike LeBron, this one would not be going to Game 7. It would only go to 6, with the Cavaliers backcourt going off, eventually winning the series 4-2 to secure Steph's 3rd title and his 2nd with the Cavaliers franchise. Steph Curry back on the board, the deficit's just growing larger and larger for LeBron. And with that most recent championship, Steph Curry is officially at the halfway point of our competition, as we're now entering the 2016 season, which for LeBron is especially important since he's going to have to make a 3-1 comeback if he wants to win this race. But fortunately for him, his luck is about to change, as the 2016 season would see him have maybe his best yet, with a historic average of almost 31-9-9, which would be enough to propel the Warriors to a 72-10 season to tie up the all-time record, which would of course be enough to win the league MVP. You find yourself rooting for LeBron, you probably are a little bit more encouraged. And let's not waste any time. He would bounce back from last year to make it to the finals for a classic matchup between the Cavs and Warriors, with the two main stars of the day once again clashing for the title. But unlike the real-life 2016 finals, this one wouldn't be half as suspenseful, as it's not going to Game 7, and it would not be the Cavs walking away on top. And as a matter of fact, this one wouldn't be close, as the Warriors being completely oversized compared to the Cavaliers would be the difference, as they would easily cruise to a 4-1 victory to win LeBron title number 2. But for Steph and the Cavaliers, it's about to get much, much worse.
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar.
As Kevin Durant, one of the greatest players ever, still without a championship, would now be taking the hardest road and heading to the Golden State Warriors. Obviously making a pairing with LeBron that's basically unfair and totally unbeatable, as the 2017 season would see the two make it to the finals immediately, where they would not play the Cavs, but the Chicago Bulls led by Jimmy Butler and D-Wade, which would end in a championship for the Dubs, which would most importantly tie up LeBron with Steph at 3 titles apiece. It is about to get historically ugly for the rest of the league, because in 2018 they wouldn't show any signs of slowing down, as they would head right back to the finals for a surprise matchup with the Detroit Pistons led by Blake Griffin, but they would get destroyed just as quickly as the Bulls, now giving LeBron a 3-4 lead in a blink of an eye. But we can't forget about Steph, so here's a little bit of an update. He actually finished the 2018 season as the league MVP for a 3rd time, so clearly he's not washed. It's really just the Cavs as a franchise. So in response for the 2019 season, he would be heading to the Los Angeles Lakers for a fresh start to potentially get back on track. However, he would be met with an interesting cast of young players, which would create a really weird dynamic surrounding the team.
You thinking of Steph, because Steph Curry, what, 6'2"?
Steph Curry about 6'3".
I'll let him be 6'4", he's still shorter than my boy.
So it wouldn't be any surprise that they wouldn't be good enough to stop Golden State, where they would go up against the Washington Wizards of all teams in the finals, and it would end exactly the way you would expect, with a sweep and LeBron's 5th championship. He's made the comeback and taken the lead by 2, all thanks to the formation of possibly the greatest duo the NBA has ever seen. And just as a reminder, at one point Steph was up 3-1, but after a solo championship in 2016, followed by the 3 he won with Kevin Durant, which all happened consecutively by the way, LeBron is now 1 title away from winning this whole thing. But don't count out Steph, his history may be on his side, as just like LeBron, the 2020 season would see him partner up with Anthony Davis, now thrusting the Lakers back into championship contention. But the most encouraging sign wouldn't even be on his own team, as Kevin Durant would be leaving LeBron in favor of Kyrie and the Nets, which would obviously be a massive hit to the Warriors, who would drop off hard in comparison, only finishing 5th in the West. So as the entire league shifted to the bubble for the postseason, it's safe to say that the Warriors have lost all of their momentum. Right now, Steph is the 1st seed, LeBron is the 5th. If they both advance, they're going to play each other, but I don't think LeBron really has a chance. I think Golden State's probably going to lose in that case. But it wouldn't even get to that. The surprise appearance of the Sacramento Kings, led by De'Aaron Fox, would be enough to take down LeBron and stop his title streak at 4. It's a surprise to be sure, but now with that loss, we have to entertain the possibility that the dynasty the Warriors created is now close to its end. But in the meantime, we would see Steph easily take down the Kings in the 2nd round to advance to the conference finals against the Pelicans, with the actual finals in sight. However, if Steph's going to make the comeback and win this competition, it's not going to be so easy, as Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram, his 2 former teammates who were cast aside and traded away for Anthony Davis, would be extra motivated and go off, which isn't enough for them to win the series outright, considering Steph is also playing extremely well. But when you add in the impact of Zion Williamson, who would dominate Anthony Davis in the lane only as a rookie, it would explain why the Lakers would shockingly be falling short to the West's 3rd seed in 6 games. But don't count Steph out just yet, cause that loss would only be the start to something much greater, as in the 2021 season he would help LA get right back on track, winning 65 games by averaging almost 30 a night. But most importantly, he'd finally establish chemistry with Anthony Davis, which would be best illustrated by their eventual matchup with LeBron in the conference finals, where the Laker duo would absolutely smoke him on the way to a 3-1 lead. And you already know that in LA, in front of his home fans, there's no way Steph will drop Game 5. They send Steph to the line. The second free throw is good. It's a 7-point game, 15 seconds left, it's over. So with that, he stifled LeBron and is advancing to the finals, where he'd go up against the Brooklyn Nets, featuring Kevin Durant, his former teammate Kyrie, and James Harden, which would ultimately be his chance to get his revenge on KD specifically for helping out LeBron. Because despite the titan of a team in front of him, Steph would close it out easily in 5 games, now putting him just 1 title behind LeBron, with a very real chance to come all the way back. However, while Los Angeles would be celebrating, LeBron would also be steadily preparing for another deep playoff run. And now entering 2022, history may potentially shift his way as a result. Because with Dre and Clay, with just enough in the tank, as well as the scoring of Jordan Poole, who seems to be a future star, LeBron would go into battle with easily his best supporting cast since KD left. But while we're on the topic of supporting casts, we would see Steph in a little bit of a jam, as at this time in real life, the Lakers basically traded away their entire team for Russell Westbrook, who to his credit is still a solid player. But considering his weird fit with the Lakers roster as a whole, it would be hard to tell and put Steph in the danger zone, as the Lakers would only finish as the 6th seed, which is hurting his title chances at the worst possible time. And that's not to say it's over for him, because in a few years the Lakers will be drastically improving the roster, but in order to do so, the competition has to continue till then. So with LeBron heading to the finals, it's only fitting that Steph would be leaving his fate in the hands of the man who changed this entire competition, that being none other than Kevin Durant, who's tasked with preventing LeBron's 6th title, which will give him the win. And with KD having 3 titles under his belt, with all of them as LeBron's sidekick, he has his own and plenty of motivation to win a title as the main star. So as a result, this one would be the ideal wire-to-wire finals with plenty of star power, as both KD and LeBron would battle over the first 4 games, starting off the NBA Finals with a 2-2 tie. But of course, someone has to lose in the end, and we get one step closer in Game 5, which would be played in Brooklyn, which would be the difference, as KD would be in control, now moments away from a 3-2 lead. It's not even close. Brooklyn's going up 3-2. LeBron's back is against the wall. So with Brooklyn now 1 win away from a championship, LeBron would be tasked with protecting home court to keep the series alive. As if it ends as a loss right here, it'll give Steph more than a chance to come back. But now at the age of 34, and no stranger to the postseason, he would use his experience to pull through. And with the help of his 2 longtime teammates and the spark of Jordan Poole, the Warriors would take care of business and keep the series alive. LeBron and the Warriors are taking care of home court, which means we are going to Game 7, which would be played on the road. The Golden State Warriors versus the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant versus LeBron James in the most important game of the last 2 decades. Which is definitely saying a lot, as we've seen countless iconic moments from both Steph and LeBron as time has passed. And there's still plenty of room for more, as we're still a couple years away from the present day. So the door is still open for records to be broken and more highlights to be made. But in the end, King James would slam that door shut, as he would deliver one more signature performance, taking control of Game 7. With over a decade of momentum by his side, Golden State would have a 4-point lead with a minute left. And after one final highlight from the man himself, they're about to pass it to LeBron. He's coming up off a screen. The pump fake on KD, his former teammate, the slam. This one would be over shortly after, as the Golden State Warriors would be walking away as champions, officially giving LeBron his 6th title to win the competition over Steph, who to his credit had an amazing career that should be celebrated. But in this alternate reality where the 2 swap careers, it's become apparently clear that LeBron James is walking away as the greatest of all time.
Choose Nankid OptiPro, the only one with B-Lactose probiotic, clinically proven to fight infections.
We believe no journey is taken alone. Toyota, start your impossible.
Today we're taking LeBron James' career and putting it in reverse, which means he'll be starting off in Los Angeles as a rookie, then moving on to Cleveland, Miami, and back to Cleveland to close out his time in the league. One thing's for sure is that NBA history will never be the same, especially right away since rookie LeBron will be joining Shaq and Kobe in LA, who already have 3 championships each. So of course the three would get to work, destroying everyone in their way with highlight after highlight, winning 68 games. And come playoff time, it wouldn't stop there as they would fly through every team to make it to the finals against Philly, who would easily be taken care of in 5 games, capping off the season with the most obvious championship ever, probably in the history of sports. And in LeBron's case, since he already has a championship, he doesn't have to deal with people criticizing, questioning, or straight up discrediting him. But the rest of his NBA journey is going to be far, far from easy, as the duo of Shaq and Kobe had grown apart in the past few seasons, with the championship not being enough to solve the relationship, leading the two to split up. And in real life, it would start a downward spiral for Kobe as he would struggle to make noise without Shaq. But with LeBron still here, the duo can rewrite history as we know it. But there's going to be some growing pains, as for the 2005 season, the two would taper off a little bit without Shaq, only finishing as a 5th seed. And as far as the playoffs go, they would fight for 7 games against the Nuggets and Carmelo Anthony, but ultimately, they would fall short. Alright, here we go. Melo's about to send him home. He gets a screen, he pulls up from deep. He's probably missing that. It's still over though. Officially sending LeBron and Kobe home. And in the following 2006 season, while they would improve back up to the 2nd seed and actually make it to the conference finals, they'd find themselves up against the terrifying duo out in Houston, which would eventually lead to a 2nd straight Game 7 and a 2nd straight loss in that Game 7. Just an absolute disaster, man. And to make it worse, while they're at home, Shaq would be competing in the finals, and if he wins here, he'll prove that he didn't need Kobe and LeBron to win a chip. But in the end, he would also wind up losing, meaning since the trio split up, none have won a title just yet. So it's not as bad, I guess. But those last few seasons might be costly, because in real life, LeBron's been in LA for 5 seasons, and while his destinations are going to be reversed, he's playing the same amount of time with each team, which means he only has 2 seasons left with Kobe, and has to do something right now. At this point, the regular season is just a formality for the two, but now being a few seasons in post-Shaq, the two are fully prepared to dismantle every other playoff team, including getting revenge on Houston and Denver, the 2 teams that eliminated them in the past 2 seasons, to make it back to the finals for the first time in 4 years. The two have officially hit their stride at the best possible time. LeBron's going for chip number 2 and Kobe's going for 5. But standing in their way is D Wade and of course Shaq out in Miami. The 3 former teammates are finally meeting in the finals, but for Shaq, it might be too late. Because now in his age 39 season, he doesn't have enough in the tank to keep up with the athleticism of LeBron and Kobe, especially LeBron, who's averaging 28 in this playoff run alone. And while Miami would tack on a couple wins, they'd find themselves down 3-2. And in Game 6, on the road, the two would finish the job, with Kobe closing out the game with a bang. They pass it down to Shaq. Shaq turns it over. Kobe with the steal. Where is LeBron? Kobe with the pull-up on the fast break. He's not missing that from the elbow, which gave LA a 5-point lead with a minute left, which was ultimately enough for them to secure yet another championship. At the age of 23, LeBron already has 2 rings. Obviously, in real life, he had 0 to this point. But most importantly, Kobe now has 5 titles, and if he can win number 6, it might cement him as the greatest of all time. But if LeBron wants to witness it as his teammate, he has to make it happen in the following season, since it'll be the last the 2 play together. So after a summer of work and all that in mind, it's fantastic timing that LeBron would finally win his first MVP. Kind of a shame it's his last season in LA. He would make the most of it though, once again making it to the conference finals against the New Orleans Hornets and Chris Paul, dominating to a 3-1 lead, and after one last exclamation point, they throw it down to LeBron in the post, LeBron being guarded by, I can't tell, I think that's Peja, the step back, it's good. LeBron would be heading back to the finals. It's his 3rd appearance and 2nd straight time. And while it seems like he should be up against his toughest opponent yet, out in Boston, who have recently formed a super team, it was complete domination from LeBron and Kobe, solidifying themselves as one of the greatest duos of all time, bringing home another title. Lamar with the ball. Lamar over to Kobe, pump fake, hesitated, and he made it anyways. LeBron now has 3 titles at the age of 24. But more impressively, Kobe now has 6 at 30, which means he still has plenty of time to win more. It's definitely not the last we'll hear from him, but if he's going to make some noise, he'll have to do it without LeBron, who, as a part of his backwards NBA journey, has to leave LA and go back to his home state of Cleveland. Him and Kobe were able to shatter NBA history together, but right now he has to win a championship on his own. But he's in for a rude awakening, because while he would win 2 MVPs in his first 2 seasons there, he would continually fall short in the playoffs. KG at the line, KG misses both free throws, they don't even secure the rebound, they're bad at LeBron from full court. LeBron's only playing 4 seasons with the team before he leaves again, and the first 2, to be honest, were a complete failure. And the media is putting him on fraud watch for his inability to win a title without Kobe.
Brugada syndrome is an autosomal dominant inherited trait.
And that's not changing anytime soon, because for the 3rd straight season, LeBron's floundering in the playoffs. This time, ironically, to the hands of the Miami Heat, who only have Wade and Bosh. Because LeBron's career has been reversed, he doesn't get to join them yet and is being taken down in the process. LeBron played 44 minutes, had 31 points, 16 rebounds, and 8 assists, and they still lost. And while there would be some hope with the Cavs still being able to draft Kyrie, it might be too early for him and too late for LeBron, since he's leaving Cleveland after this season. And while all that's happening, let's check in on Kobe again, who's entering his 5th prime, storming through the playoffs to make it back to the finals in search for championship number 7, while LeBron's being eliminated again. LeBron's closing out his first stint in Cleveland with no championships. Right now, he can't win without Kobe. And while LeBron will one day be returning to Cleveland in search for redemption, Kobe would be defeating the Pacers easily, scoring from everywhere to win his 7th title, which is the first he's won without LeBron or Shaq, who coincidentally have 0 since leaving him. It basically cements him as the greatest of all time, but with 3 championships himself, LeBron might be able to catch up, and it's getting a whole lot easier since he's pairing up with D-Wade and Bosh out in Miami. But because he's joining 2 seasons later than usual, his finals opponents are going to be way different than what he faced in real life. And while it would take him a few seasons and the death of his headband, 2015 to be exact, LeBron's finally rampaging through the Eastern Conference to make it back to the finals for the first time since 2008, meeting up against Steph Curry and the Warriors in the finals. 2 of the most hyped up super teams of all time are going to be battling in a best of 7. A lot of people debate on who's better, and we're about to find out. And while the overall teams are different, you could always count on LeBron and Steph to put on a show, as the insane athleticism of LeBron and the elite, which might be an understatement, shooting of Steph would make for a thrilling series. And when you combine that with the supporting cast of each team, it's no surprise that eventually it would go to Game 7. LeBron hasn't won a title in almost a decade, but now he has a really good shot to do so if he can go on the road in Oracle Arena and take one more game. But he's gonna have to wait even longer, because not only is he not winning the championship, he would flat out get embarrassed by Steph, who would win the game by 40 to fittingly prevent LeBron from winning his 4th title. How do you mess up that badly, bro? 40-point game. LeBron's lack of playoff success post-Kobe has been shocking to say the least. It took him 3 seasons to even make it to the finals with Miami, and he's falling short to the same team he did to in real life. But the 2016 season might be one for some serious change, as not only is it his last season with the team, but his former teammate Kobe would be retiring at the end of the season, locking him into a whopping 7 championships. Even though it's LeBron's career that has been reversed, it's Kobe's legacy that's benefited the most. And while LeBron would carry the Heat back to the finals against the Warriors, at this point, how could you not doubt him a little bit? Miami's kind of shaky, and the Warriors are hitting their stride, and they're having their best season so far. And that best season wouldn't be 73 wins like in real life, it would only be 68. But at the end of the day, someone has to lose, and unfortunately for LeBron, unless something changes soon, he might be cooked again. To his credit, he will lead Miami to 2 wins, but he's going down 3-2 in this series. And if he loses here, he might not even have the chance to enter the GOAT conversation. Now he has to focus on Game 6 at home to try to avoid elimination. And while the game would remain close, it would be too close, because he would ultimately be down 1 with 90 seconds left in the game. If he loses here, he could kiss that championship goodbye. They're getting everyone out the way. Steph to the basket, blocked by Whiteside. Bogut with the... no way. Bogut just took a jump shot in Game 6 of the finals. D-Wade trying to get to the basket. Chris Bosh has a mismatch. Probably should pass it back to him. Chris Bosh has Klay Thompson on him. LeBron makes the layup anyways. 1-point lead for Miami. Season on the line. Trying to force Game 7. Steph with the pull-up mid-range. He's not missing that. He did miss it. Okay, here we go. LeBron with the ball. LeBron with the ball. LeBron can put it away. The pass down to D-Wade. We might be going to Game 7. There's still 1 more possession left. But Miami can't celebrate just yet. It's only a 3-point game, and the Warriors just so happen to have the perfect player for this situation. Here we go. 3-point game. 26 seconds left. Steph with the ball. Steph not even taking a 3. Driving to the basket, and he's fouled. You had 1 job. All right, obviously he made the first free throw. Second free throw is good. Now Miami has to inbound the ball, hit some free throws, and they have Dragic at the line. Not D-Wade, not LeBron. I mean, he is a good free throw shooter, but come on, bro. I would like to see LeBron at the line in this situation. He makes both. All right, Golden State has no more timeouts. They have to score on this possession pretty much. Here we go. What's Steph gonna do? Driving to the basket. Is he trying to draw a foul again? What is he doing? The pass out to Klay. Klay with a pump fake. No way. He missed it. He missed it. We're going to game 7, unless Goran somehow misses these free throws. But fortunately for Heat fans, he would make the free throws, and LeBron lives to see another day.
What's up? It's si Boy, Juni Boy, at ngayong araw ay nandito tayo sa Ilocos Norte para bisitahin ang isa sa naimas gumawa ng longganisa. Tara, datayo at taga Norte na laing na agigim iti kwarta. Kada kilo, eksakto. Kada takal, kahit usto tirukod. Isungano at daot-ot, jaymet eksakto. Discounting a Rexidol Forte. Na parapartat iti upat sa anlaing nga agaysa. Mabalin nga agigigdan pay. Binat nga adda agiddan nga ut-ot ti ulo, ut-ot ti bagi, ken gurigor. Uray agigiddan pay ti duwa, talo, wenut pat. Panatan dayta, may sa nga Rexidol Forte at agus. Tuloy iti ubra, awan masayang nga kwarta. Itibignat nga adda ut-ot ti ulo, ut-ot ti bagi, ken gurigor. Diskarte nga Rexidol Forte na parapartat nga banat ti upat.
Tama na. Tama na yung sobrang tapang at sobrang sweet. Mag-great taste white.
It all comes down to one more game. LeBron's heading over to Golden State to try to get revenge for last season. It's also his second straight Game 7 against Steph. And coincidentally, it's the same result as last season. He's losing to Steph in the finals again. That is the worst fake comeback I've ever seen in my life, man. It went by pretty quickly, but LeBron's finished up his time in Miami with 0 championships. And to close out his time in the league, he won't be heading to LA. Instead, he's finishing right back where he was earlier, that being his hometown Cavaliers, who do have Kyrie and Kevin Love, but for reasons we'll get into shortly, he really only has one shot with them. However, it's not all bad, because he still is good enough to make it to the finals every time. And I have even better news to share, because in real life, the Warriors with KD would go all the way, but somehow this time LeBron's up against James Harden and the Rockets instead. He almost did it in real life, but he's doing it here, and now we have a finals matchup to determine who's the real King James. But let's be for real, we all know LeBron's a better player, as he would carry the Cavs to an easy 3-2 lead. It's been almost a decade, but he's one game away from his 4th title and first post Kobe. But of course, no lead is safe. Because if Harden can get past the Warriors, he's worthy of going all the way. And it would show in Game 6 as he would push LeBron to the limit, especially in the final minute of the game. James Harden about to go between, yup, there we go. James Harden patented between the legs, no step back, driving to the basket, shoots it over. How did he make it? How did he make it? I'm convinced if they don't score here, they're about to blow it again. Oh my God, they're about to blow it again, bro. Eric Gordon with the ball. LeBron, he still scores on LeBron. They might foul LeBron, bro, because LeBron might miss some free throws. I don't know why he's just, LeBron turns it over. Oh my God, LeBron actually turned it over. Patrick Beverly with the ball. Patrick Beverly probably should have passed it. Okay, the Cavs might be good. It couldn't have been uglier, and it took almost a decade, but LeBron finally is winning his 4th championship. He's officially done it. He's won one without Kobe. He's tied up his real-life total, and now he's poised to make a serious run to close.
Did you speak to LeBron James or talk to LeBron James before you met with ownership and let them know that you wanted out?
Even though they just won a title, Kyrie would be requesting out of Cleveland. It's a major blow to the Cavs and LeBron's title chances, as he's stuck here trying to carry a subpar team. And pretty much immediately, Kyrie's absence would be felt. They throw it into Ben Simmons, being guarded by LeBron, driving to the basket. Pump fake, gets LeBron in the air, and he's sending him home. Oh my God. And the 2019 season wouldn't be much better, as the roster looks seriously off. The team's gone from championship caliber to one that's extremely dysfunctional. Now you're seeing the main consequence of reversing LeBron's career. He can't leave and is stuck. So he would come up with a master plan, and it could be summarized in 3 words. I'm not playing. Because while he would be stuck here, no one said he actually had to participate. So he would sit on the sidelines and prepare himself for his final playoff run. He would also coincidentally spend a lot of time vacationing in Utah watching Jazz games for whatever reason. And while we're on the topic, that Donovan Mitchell guy's pretty good at basketball. But most importantly, because LeBron's sitting out, it would give the Cavs a chance to properly rebuild, drafting Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. And after 3 dormant seasons, LeBron's ready. He's back. In real life, the new look Cavs would win 44 games, but just by adding LeBron, that total would rocket up to 57, as the young talent on the team perfectly complemented the all-around play of Bron, and in turn, it would translate into the playoffs. The only real challenge so far would be the Nets, who have KD, Kyrie, and Harden, but LeBron's the best player on the floor, and usually, that's a good sign. LeBron driving to the basket, not too sure what's happening right now. He should pass it out. I lied. All right, he's going to the finals. where he would find himself up against Kawhi, Paul George, and the Clippers. And while each game would be close, LeBron would take not one, not two, but 3 games to go up 3-1. And while he would have his patented blowout in the middle of the series in Game 5, bro, why do they randomly get blown out? He would follow it up with a 40-point game, and with the help of his teammates, he would close it out and win championship number 5. He sat out for a while, but he's peaking at the best possible time. We are in the most random timeline I've ever seen. And him peaking right now is perfect because we're entering season 20, which is the final season we'll be watching from King James. It's been really strange, but he's accomplished a lot. 5 championships is more than what he has in real life, and with the offseason trade to acquire Donovan Mitchell, he has a very good shot at 6, as he brings a level of scoring LeBron hasn't had since Kyrie, and those two were able to win a title together. So with the help of Donovan, the Cavs would storm through the playoffs to make it to LeBron's 8th finals. However, while the Cavs have 3 All-Stars, so does their opponent, who just so happens to be the Suns, led by Chris Paul, D-Book, and KD. It's a tough matchup, and one thing that's been consistent this whole time is LeBron's often gone to 6 or 7 games, but at the age of 38, he's still in his prime, and that wouldn't be the case. Because with the help of Donovan, the two would lead the Cavs to a 3-1 lead, and in Game 5, while it would remain close, it would come down to a few more free throws from, you guessed it, LeBron James. LeBron's going to the line. Obviously, we know his free throw is a little shaky. He's not even dapping up his teammates. He's ready for the second shot. Here we go. LeBron with the championship, his 6th championship on the line. He makes both. The Suns just called their last timeout. I would assume that KD takes the last shot, or Book. They pass it over to KD, KD to the basket. DeAndre Ayton takes the final shot with the season on the line. And with that missed shot, that would be it. LeBron's ultimately finishing with 6 titles in 20 seasons, closing it out on the team he originally should have started on. His legacy, along with Kobe's, have changed dramatically, but one thing that did stay the same was the dominance of the Warriors. But what if we put someone in the league to stop them, like Michael Jordan? Click the video on the screen to see if Jordan could take down the Warriors dynasty, because while LeBron did extremely well, that was the one thing that he couldn't do.
Bing bang bing, bing ding bang, bum bum bang, bum bum.
How to get the most of Grammarly free.
It's Kayla on behalf of Grammarly to tell you all about the free version of the best communication assistant in the world. Millions have chosen to go beyond their default grammar checkers and use Grammarly. My cousin Izzy, a graphic designer, is one of them. Izzy loves how quick and reliable Grammarly is at providing feedback. Another reason Izzy signed up for Grammarly is its conciseness suggestions, something she wasn't getting from default grammar checkers. Grammarly notices wordiness and helps her rephrase this hard-to-read sentence with one click. Izzy also wants to feel like her tone is on point, so she uses Grammarly's tone detector to show how a reader may understand her writing. Here, Izzy's email is optimistic, friendly, and admiring. Izzy sends the email confident that it's mistake-free, concise, and on target.
We all know about Kevin Durant's controversial move to the Golden State Warriors, ditching Russell Westbrook and the Thunder.
As these former star teammates jawing at each other.
But what if the two switched places? Meaning Westbrook would be joining the Warriors to pair up with the Splash Bros, leaving KD to fight for himself in OKC. It's going to look different, but Golden State definitely has a super team on its hands. Of course, led by the athleticism of Russ and the shooting of Steph. But in time, we'd start to see the first major change to history, because while in real life, Russ becomes a triple-double king, he actually falls short with the Warriors. But it might be worth it since he's helping them win a ridiculous 68 games on the season, which didn't go well with a lot of people.
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar.
It goes without saying that there's 29 other fan bases that want to see Russ lose. Unfortunately for them though, the playoffs would go pretty well at first, with Russ helping the team to wins against Portland and Utah in the first few rounds. But in the conference finals, he'd be going up against his former teammate James Harden, who'd easily be putting up the best fight the Warriors have seen, stepping back and Euro-stepping his way to a 2-1 lead. For the first time, the Warriors feel beatable, and if they lose, the blame's guaranteed to fall on Russ. Obviously, if they lose, that is a major downgrade from real life. Obviously, they won the chip back then. So with his legacy already on the line, a bunch of pressure on his shoulders, and someone hate watching from Oklahoma City, Russ would go out and destroy the Rockets in the next few games. And while it did go to Game 7, he would be taking care of them pretty convincingly, keeping history the same by helping the Warriors advance to the finals. But that's where the similarities end, because somehow instead of meeting the Cavs, they'd find themselves up against the Celtics, led by Isaiah Thomas, who's 6 inches shorter than Russ. And that would ultimately be their downfall, as while IT's a fantastic player, Russ clearly has the advantage, and when you combine that with the shooting of the Splash Bros, this one was over quick. The Warriors would sweep the series, bringing Russ his first NBA title after almost a decade in the league. Everything's going as planned for the Warriors so far. But for Russ, it turns out his move to the Bay would be even better than expected, as he would be the one taking home the Finals MVP after averaging nearly a triple-double throughout the Finals. It's safe to say his time with the team has gotten off to a fantastic start, but it's not lasting forever. Because Russ isn't just replacing KD's spot on the Warriors, he's replacing KD's spot in history, as he'll be leaving in 2 seasons to join the Nets and eventually the Suns, with the goal being to see if he can win more titles than KD has in real life. But for now, Russ is entering his 2nd season with the team, and while he's not averaging a triple-double, he's getting really close with 27, 11, and 8. The only real issue is that the team would slide down to the 2nd seed, but the first few rounds of the playoffs still went smoothly, as Russ and Steph are easily the best duo in the league. However, for the conference finals, they'd be up against the 2nd, that being the duo of KD and PG out in OKC. It's safe to say the Thunder crowd still haven't forgiven Russ for his move out west, but ultimately, it didn't matter, as Russ would take 3 of the first 4 to take a 3-1 lead, now making him 1 game away from sending his former team home to finally play against LeBron in the finals. But a motivated KD who still has no chips, along with Paul George, aren't going down so easily, as they take Game 5 and Game 6 in convincing fashion to force the series to a decisive Game 7. And they're about to blow it. They're actually about to blow it. We're going to Game 7, which means for a 2nd straight time, Russ's legacy is on the line. And this time it might be even worse, because he's on the brink of blowing a 3-1 lead to his former team. But as soon as the game tipped off, the Warriors would show everyone why they're a dynasty, as it's not just Russ who's dominating, but also Steph, Klay, and Dre, who are playing at a high level, ultimately sending the Thunder home despite a really good effort. That's 2 straight Game 7s and 2 straight Game 7 wins to go to the finals for the Warriors, which means they'd be heading to Cleveland to challenge LeBron for the title. And while he would be the best player in the series taking the first 2 games, his supporting cast is kind of questionable, giving the Warriors the opportunity to come back and take the next 3. However, the series is far from over, as we're witnessing an all-time carry job from LeBron, because while Russ and the Warriors are playing well, he can potentially force Game 7, as ultimately we'd have a tie game with less than 1 minute left. Unfortunately for him though, Russ has the ball and his 2nd title in his sights, but if the Cavs can come up with a stop, they could potentially force Game 7. He has the ball, they give it to him at the end of the game, pump fake on Kevin Love, the patience from Russell Westbrook, which means the Cavs have to call their last timeout, giving them one last chance. But we all know who's taking the final shot. Here we go, 10 seconds left. Kevin Love's about to set the screen. I've seen this play a million times. LeBron pulls up for the win. Oh, LeBron choked. Oh my God. Oh my God, bro, that was so open. And with that, Russ is winning title number 2, which ties him up with KD's real life total. Interestingly enough, he's not winning the Finals MVP, with each going to Steph, but they'll have the chance to break that tie, as we're now entering the 3rd and final season Russ is spending in Golden State. He's definitely vaulted his way up the all-time ranks, but with the Warriors losing in the finals in real life during this time, can Russ be the one to change history? Because he would start off once again falling short of a triple-double, but the trade-off is he's once again flying through the playoffs to make it to the conference finals against OKC. But unlike the last time, it would be complete domination, to the point where KD's played his final game with the franchise as Russ is moving on to the finals. They absolutely despise him in that building. And how could they not? Russ left the team and moved on to something way better, and now he's heading to Toronto, ironically, to try to complete the 3-peat, which might be the most insane NBA plot twist ever. I'm just looking forward to the comments. And while ideally this series would be close, Russ would lead the Warriors to not 1, not 2, but 3 straight wins to set the tone for the series, now being 1 game away from his 3rd title. And now in Game 4, he's making an entire country his enemy. Golden State with a 1-point lead. They're not giving the ball to Steph. Russ pulls up from 3. Oh my God, he's nasty. He's nasty. And with that, he's completed the 3-peat, something KD wasn't able to achieve during his time with the team. Who knows where Russ ranks all time, but it's definitely up there, and he might even be vaulting his teammate Steph Curry, as he's now winning his 2nd Finals MVP. He might be the greatest Warrior of all time. And while that might be a little dramatic, he won't really have the chance to prove that notion, as he'll be heading to the fashion capital of the world, New York, to get off some very interesting outfits and pair up with Kyrie in Brooklyn. But in time, while it was clear Russ was living the good life, his basketball career would be taking a major hit, as his first season is being ended by Philly, led by Ben Simmons, who realized he was 6'10". And that's a wrap. He's benefited from following KD's career path, but right now it's not working out. And with KD not winning a title in real life since leaving Golden State, you have to wonder if Russ will have the same fate. However, the 2021 season might be the most interesting to date, because while he and Kyrie are playing well together, they'd see a huge upgrade with the midseason trade for James Harden. It definitely brings the Nets way closer to a potential title, but unlike in real life where the positions were really balanced with KD, the Nets have 3 players who are all capable of running the point. The Warriors weren't a huge team either, but this team's even smaller, and it might come back to bite them. Because while they would storm through the Eastern Conference playoffs pretty easily to make it back to the finals, this is where the height comes into play. Because they'd be heading to LA to challenge LeBron and AD, 2 of the most physically imposing players in the league. Right from the jump, it was clear that the Nets were way too undersized to guard them. Especially James Harden, who's the tallest of the 3 stars, meaning he has to check LeBron, which of course was a disaster. And while Russ is playing well himself, it's just not going to be enough. LeBron and AD would dominate to 3 straight wins to start off the series, and in Game 4, the role players would finish them off. Caruso with the ball. Is Caruso about a... And with that, Russ is losing in the finals for the first time, now adding to the disappointment since leaving the Warriors. And in the 2022 season, it's not getting any easier. Because with Harden not being a fan of guarding taller players and a huge fan of cheesesteaks, he's forcing his way to Philly with Ben Simmons heading to Brooklyn. The only plus to all of this is because Russ is following KD's career path, he's keeping his longevity while he's out in LA trolling. But back to Russ, he would finally average a triple-double for the first time, but it's not really helping him out during the playoffs. As just like in real life, the Nets are falling short to Boston, going down 3-2, and eventually losing in 6. Pass it into Kyrie, he's kind of open, man. Pass it over to Russ, Russ is open. And he passes out of it, he had space. That is the worst possession I've ever seen. Which means Russ has gone from a 3-peat with the Warriors to a backwards 3-peat with the Nets. Which brings up the question, does Russ need the Warriors to win? With only 2 seasons left until the cutoff, who knows? But he's running out of time and the 2023 season would be rough. As Kyrie would be pairing with Luka in Dallas, and Ben Simmons still can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. So with that, Russ would be heading to the Suns, and while he and D-Book are a nice duo, Chris Paul's kind of washed. And the season will ultimately be wasted with a first-round exit. The fact that they were only the 5th seed to begin with is kind of wild. Russ has been eliminated 4 straight times and has no major awards since leaving the Warriors. It's extremely confusing as to why it's gone so poorly, but finally, while everything's been trending down, there's actually something to cheer for, as the Suns are stealing Bradley Beal from the Wizards for Chris Paul, which means the Suns finally have a trio that could compete for a title. They are a little undersized, similar to the Nets earlier, but at this point, an upgrade is an upgrade, and because of that, Russ's final season would get off to a good start as he'd average a triple-double. But most importantly, the Suns would make a massive improvement to the 2nd seed, with the only thing left to see is if he can seal the deal in the playoffs and bring home title number 4. It would start off with him easily eliminating his former